Good evening and welcome to Wilson Hall on the University of Melbourne's Parkfield campus. Tonight, the inaugural Big Blue being held in Wilson Hall, in the famed Wilson Hall, which is normally used for examinations. Tonight's match, men's and women's badminton, as part of the annual Big Blue competition to test the sporting rivalry between Australia's two oldest universities, Melbourne and Monash. Sporting university powerhouses in their own right, and would normally dominate the events at Nationals Division 1 and 2. The Big Blue is an event that hopes to drive this particular rivalry into bigger and better things. Broadcasting tonight on Melbourne University Sport and Team Monash Facebook pages, as well as varsitychallenge.com.au. So wherever you're tuning in from, welcome to the broadcast. Please, if you have the opportunity, share to your friends and colleagues, alumni. If you're near the university today, please pop down to Wilson Hall, right in the centre of the Parkfield campus. A free sausage sizzle out the front, an opportunity to watch a special sporting event being held in this famous building for the first time. As I mentioned, it's hosts the University of Melbourne, taking on visitors and local rivals, Monash University. And the Big Blue itself is a multi-sport event held between the two universities, including sports such as Australian rules football, badminton, basketball, hockey, soccer, touch football, table tennis and ultimate frisbee. And it's designed as a chance for supporters of both universities to show their support for their teams on campus. Traditionally, a lot of university events being held at central locations, but this gives an opportunity for the universities to host on campus and attract student and staff support. In 2017, Monash took home the Big Blue Trophy by one win with a score of 8-7, reversing the result from 2016, where Melbourne were the overall champions. And this year's event's already underway. The badminton just one of a number of events scheduled to decide that trophy. During the evening, we've got men's and women's doubles and two lots of men's and women's singles involving players from Monash and Melbourne. As you'll see on the broadcast, the Melbourne players in the navy blue or dark blue uniforms, Monash in the grey mainly, and players warming up at the moment for the first women's singles and the second of the two men's singles. The building we sit in at the moment has its own rich history. I'm sure you'll get an opportunity, if you're watching on the stream, to see the amazing wood panelling, the oak around the walls. Traditionally is used for examinations, graduation ceremonies. It's the first time tonight that a sporting event's been held here. As we can hear in the background, the referees identifying the players, play about to get underway. It's actually named after Sir Samuel Wilson, who donated £30,000 to the university in 1874, and that would be the equivalent of 5.5 million Australian dollars today, built in 1882, once destroyed by fire and then rebuilt again after 1952, that fire. And play underway in the first women's singles here. Alice Wu, the far end, representing the University of Melbourne, and Ying Shi, representing Monash University. So 1-1 here in the early going. Just a reminder of the rules. It's best of 3 sets, first 21, and then proceeding on to, should either player get ahead by 2 points, up to a score of 30. And that second voice you hear, pardon me for not introducing him, Andrew Paulette, who's here to provide certainly far more expert commentary than I can inform. So Andrew, we've seen Yonex, a big shout out and thank you to them for providing the floors here today. We had some trouble getting the floors actually in, they've only been laid just this afternoon. What sort of conditions would these present as opposed to a normal fixed wooden floor?
Yep, so certainly any national or international level event, you're going to use the Taraflax mats. Um, they just give you a lot more grip, and certainly something that all high level players are used to playing on. The floating floors and the wooden flooring just it gets a lot dustier, and it's just very inconsistent between stadiums, whereas when you're playing on the mats, yeah, it's just a bit more consistency between stadiums.
And from a lighting perspective,
Yeah, so these lights, they look quite good actually, considering we're not in a badminton specific. Oh, great shot there. We're not in a badminton specific hall, but looking up, they don't run down the middle of the court. There's nothing on the sides that are too bright, so yeah, hopefully the players don't have too many troubles and can see the shuttle. It's good.
there's certainly an unusual configuration. If we get an opportunity to look at the bank of lights sitting down the right-hand side, looking a little more Art Deco than sporting.
Yeah, that could be a bit of a distraction for the players, but these guys they would have played in stadiums all over the country and all over the world, so you adapt pretty quickly and you get used to your surroundings. They should be okay.
In early stages here, but Ying Shi with a slight advantage, 5-3, serving now.
Good control by Ying Shi there, just moving Alice around the court, just forcing her to the corners and really making her stretch for the shuttle. And Alice was not ready for that one.
And our umpires tonight, the viewers will see the two gentlemen standing on the chairs. They'd normally have a higher vantage point, would they, or is that?
Yeah, typically at sort of a higher level, the umpires do sit up. It's not their job to call the lines or anything like that, so you'll have dedicated line judges, but yeah, they'll be sitting up with a bigger vantage point. And in the top tournaments as well, you'll see another umpire on the other side, which does the service. So they look for the service faults, but we don't have those today.
And for those familiar at home with the court configuration, the tram lines down the side are just for the doubles?
Yeah, certainly. So in the singles event that we've got here now, you've got to play on the narrow court, but when the doubles starts later on, you'll see a lot of shots going down those tram lines.
So you might have heard in the background, 8-4 in the first set here. It's the number one women's singles. The number two men's singles going on just away down the far end of the Wilson Hall.
Ying Shi just really taking the shuttle early here. You can see when she was in that overhead corner, just taking it early, bringing it down at a good angle, really getting Alice out of position, and then taking the net early as well, just setting it up well. And again, just pushing Alice around the corner, deep into that back corner, really forcing that overhead. We've seen it a few times now, probably a bit of a game plan that she's playing at.
That one's a little long.
Yeah, unlucky on that one. Took it early, but bit too much muscle.
10-5 at the moment. Andrew, you might comment a little bit for us about the body language of the players. Generally, quite a reserved sport.
Look, that really depends. Certainly, some people have a much more aggressive persona, I guess, and certainly show their emotions. But these two girls, very placid and quite reserved. I saw Alice play a lot in her younger days, coming up through juniors, and she's always been renowned for having a very fighting spirit. Used to be quite vocal, and she took a little bit of time off as she sort of approached 18, and ever since she's come back, she's just, not to say that she's not fighting for it anymore, but might have calmed it down a little bit in her later years.
Now the break we're seeing now and some coaching going on there, that's to indicate that somebody's got to 11 halfway through the first set?
Yeah, that's it. So as soon as the first player to get to 11 calls for an interval, so the players can have a towel down and a drink, and the coaches get the opportunity to come on and give them some advice and tips. Aggressive start to the point by Alice there. I wouldn't be surprised if they told her to come out and try and be a little bit more aggressive. She's been playing quite controlled and passive, which hasn't quite been working so far. Aggressive start to the point by Alice there. I wouldn't go for a little bit more, go for the lines and try and push the shuttle round a bit more. That being said, it's easier said than done when you're playing against an opponent with good control and good footwork. It's hard to get them out of position. Good net control there.
13-6. You can hear the referee calling out in the background. Yingshi, first set. University of Melbourne versus Monash, Big Blue, first time. Wilson Hall, a famed building on the Parkville campus of the University of Melbourne.
Looks like the boys might have changed sides down the other end already, so that'd mean the first game. Looks like the boys might have changed sides down the other end. I'm not sure. Sure what happened there. Alice a little bit wrong-footed. It didn't look like Yingshi tried to. Sure what happened there. Alice a little, but Alice sort of lost her footing a little bit. Too good.
All over the net there.
Yeah.
Yingshi.
Yeah. Just playing the deep smash and following it up to the net. Always a trouble to deal with.
And on the second court down there, the first set has gone to Monash. Kenneth Chu, the men's number 2 singles, defeating Z1 Mao 21 points to 10.
I think it would have been tough one down on the men's court there. I don't think Kenneth and Jay would have played together or played against each other in the past. Kenneth's typically known for his doubles, but certainly very strong in the men's singles as well. So it'd be tough for Jay. Wouldn't know his opponent too well.
So not enough prior form to go on.
No. He's Kenneth's moved over from Malaysia a couple of years ago and has been very strong in the men's doubles in the local tournaments, but we haven't seen too much of him in the men's singles. So it's tough to come up with a game plan before the game because you're not too sure what you're up against. Another great drop shot there in this lady's singles. She's really finding the corners well.
And for anybody watching tonight that mightn't be familiar with, I guess, what a big game badminton is worldwide, can you explain a little bit about where are the biggest places? We know it's an Olympic sport.
Yeah, certainly. So the strongest nations historically have always been China, Indonesia, Malaysia. More recent times, Japan has really come through as a bit of a powerhouse. Korea, very strong. So a lot of the Southeast Asian countries, but it's a very, very popular sport over in parts of Europe. Huge in England, Denmark, and a lot of the countries in those areas are really coming along, and you see a lot of those players from the smaller countries going to the training camps and whatnot throughout Europe, and some really strong countries emerging throughout Europe.
And what's the current state of badminton in Australia?
It's hard to tell. It's probably as big as it's ever been. You go around, especially throughout Melbourne, there are courts popping up everywhere, and the socials are really busy, and there's more and more numbers playing. Recently at the Commonwealth Games, particularly our ladies doubles put up a very strong fight, as well as our mixed. We had some really good results. From memory, I think the ladies doubles, they actually played off for the bronze medal. Fortunately, they didn't get through, but I think that's a pretty good example of where we're at the moment. The fact that we're contending for medals at the Commonwealth level.
Mm-hmm. Nice smash there, but it's game point 20 points to 11 at the moment. Yingxi first set, women's #1 singles. It's the big blue from the University of Melbourne's Parkfield campus, Wilson Hall.
And we have the first game, very controlled but aggressive game by Monash to start there. It's going to be tough for Alice to come back from that. She'll try and have to find a bit more range with her shots, and I think probably get a little bit more attack and aggression if she's going to try and take the second set.
And down the other end, the men's second singles going on. Monash, having won the first set 21-10, up 10-7 in that second set. Z1 Mao with the smash there. But at the moment, Kenneth Chu with the answers.
Two points in a row to Jay down there. It looks like he's
back to 10 all.
Yeah. Ooh, great deception by Kenneth. Great shot.
So that's the schedule break. First player to 11. Coaches wandering on.
Yeah, looks like Matt Chow from Monash recently played in the Commonwealth Games. He's also an Olympian, playing in their first doubles, I believe. So he's out.
We will see him later tonight or this evening here.
Yeah. Looks like the crowds are starting to build as well. It's good. A few people coming in to...
Yeah, I think even the event itself, the idea of university sport is such a strong thing in America, and quite often a lot of the ideas that are floated around between Australian universities focus on the American experience and whether it's possible to replicate something similar.
Mm-hmm.
If you read the history of the American NCAA, National Collegiate Association, it has taken literally hundreds of years for that to get to the scale that it's at now. Certainly the endeavour between Monash and Melbourne in putting on this multi-sport event and hosting it in venues like this is about, and broadcasting it, is trying to present a professional product that the students can take an interest in and take pride in. But there's no doubt it will take some time to to generate
That's good.
consistent interest.
Fantastic. Yingxi just pushing it deep into Alice's backhand there. It's a tough spot to get out of. You mentioned the body language before. Two points in a row Alice has lost now, and she's dropped the shoulders a little bit. She needs to try and bring herself up mentally if she wants to take this set.
So from a point of view of making those changes, what is is there a physical cue, a mental cue?
I mean, everyone's different. Some people are very reliant on their coaches at the back of the court, and they look for a lot of advice. Some people they'll try and go for a passage of really aggressive points or even really controlled points just to bring themselves back into the game. It's one of those sports where within 1 or 2 points you can really change your mindset and change your approach to the game, and it can tip it on its head. So it'll be very exciting if we can see Alice really fight for this. There it is. Bit of a SAR from Alice. Try and rev herself up a bit. Very close game down with the men's there, 14-15.
So we take back to the women. Rally, smash, drop shot, catches a bit of the net.
Great shot by Alice. Good control with the net roll.
And a net court like that, if comparing it to tennis, is just part of the game.
Yeah, especially in the women's singles, you see so much control around the net. They've got so much finesse that the net roll, it's just one of the shots in their arsenal. Something that takes years and years and years of practice to get good at and master. But when you've got control around the net, you really can take control of the whole game.
I know we were talking a second ago about the growth of the game, and clearly there's an appetite for the sport on university campuses. We also happen to have with us tonight Nick Yee, the president of the University of Melbourne Badminton Club. Nick, what's your view on interest in the sport at the moment around the campus?
So pleasure to be here. So at the university level, our club is keen to groom new players and bring them up into the varsity level. And our main interest is to do well in sport and promote the sport in Victoria.
And from a participation point of view, if there are students that might either be watching here tonight and they were interested in getting involved, what's the best method for them?
Oh yeah, certainly. In the recent years, we've seen a big increase in popular social players. And if they want to play badminton,
Okay, that's just their page, which will be linked off one of the university's sport pages.
Yep, true to use
Yep.
university sport page and our Facebook page as well.
Both players looking a little fatigued here.
Yeah, sort of tight in the early-ish stages of the second set. A lot of concentration in some of these longer rallies, and obviously moving around the court and getting pushed around. So they're going to be getting very tired. It's a crucial part of the game to try and hold it here.
And as we can down to the men's court at the moment, that's over, the second men's singles. Kenneth Chu taking that one 21-10, 21-16. Ziwan Mao down there with a rueful shake of the head. But there is 6 points available here tonight, the men and women's doubles and men and women's first singles. So 6 matches to be contested. on the second court. Next up we'll have the women's second singles. Erica Cochrane taking on Susan Go. Erica Cochrane representing the University of Melbourne, and Susan Go from Monash, and they'll be getting underway with their warm-up in a minute. But back here on the first court, 9-all, second set. First set having gone to Monash.
Unlucky for Alice there. She had control of that rally, and I think if she had got the net over, she would have been okay. Just going for a bit too tight of a shot. Yeah, it's always nice going into the break with that little lead, even if it is 1 point. You're just that little bit more relaxed during the break.
Smash, lob, back of the court.
Ooh, fantastic shot.
The first
Great little bit of deception by Alice at the end there.
And the first fist pump we've seen all night.
That's right.
Maybe I've been... Yeah, clearly, but we can see in the break now she's taken a seat.
Mm.
Both coaches with some ideas.
In that first set, we really saw Yingxi in control, moving Alice around, getting her deep in the back, and then, deep in the front of the court. And I think she was just covering a lot more ground. But Alice has changed her game plan. She's pushing Yingxi around. She's bringing the shuttle down a bit earlier in the rally, not giving that opportunity to be pushed around as much.
Certainly,
Alice is a pretty clever player, so yeah. Your words, not mine.
So Alice to serve 11-10, slight lead. Second set, having lost the first set 21-11, and the second men's singles already completed on the second court here at Wilson Hall on the University of Melbourne's Parkville campus. It's the Big Blue, University of Melbourne v Monash. 6 badminton games here tonight to decide the badminton leg of what is a multi-sport competition between Australia's 2 foremost universities. Alice Wu serving in the navy blue. And Yingxi representing Monash in the grey. The far end of the court, that one quite close to the line. A reminder, in the singles we're playing on the smaller court, the interior lines.
Another shout from Alice. I think she's gulping in the air. I think she's just trying to keep her momentum going. You'll notice Alice, when she's on serve, she's putting in quite a bit of variation. Sometimes she's serving the big high ones, sometimes short. Just keeps your opponent guessing. Doesn't let them, get too much of a game plan early on. And
the pause that both players take, and we saw an extended one there from Alice a second ago as she calls let. before they serve? Is that part psychological, part trying to read my opponent?
Yeah, it can be. You know, trying to get your own focus. But at the same time, if your opponent's won 2 or 3 points in a row and they've got a bit of rhythm, sometimes just breaking them, trying to break their rhythm and break their concentration a little bit. One of the hardest things is when your opponent's won 3, 4, 5 points in a row and their confidence is high. You need to do something to break it.
A little long.
Unlucky.
Locked up again, 14 all. Second set. The top women's singles game. So we can see Yingxi there suggesting the shuttle is damaged. Is that?
So you do have to ask the umpire to change the shuttle. They have the option of saying no if they believe the structural integrity of the shuttle hasn't been compromised. So
which we've seen just there.
Yeah. Not too often that the umpire won't let you change, especially if both players agree to change it. Normally they're pretty happy, but not on this occasion. Very good shot. Really going for the line there, deep in the back corner.
So 17-14 now, second set. Alice Wu from Melbourne in the navy blue, looking to tie this first women's singles up at a set apiece. Needs to get to 21. Lob and a miss hit. She looks ruefully to the oak panelled roof.
Yeah, she's looked up a couple of times. You can see there is a row of lights. Well, you might not be able to see on the camera. There is a row of lights pretty much in line with where Alice tried to hit it from just then. She might have just lost it for a moment.
I guess it sort of goes with the territory of playing in such a wonderful building. There are some architectural oddities. I know you can probably see in the background there the artwork sitting on the forewall of what is Wilson Hall. It's part mosaic, part sculpture, and sits alongside the organ pipes, a working organ, which dates back to the original building of Wilson Hall.
If Alice is going to take this set, she needs to keep her concentration here. A few little errors. There's another one.
Just a single point in it now, 18-17. Mentioning Wilson Hall, built in 1882, if you can believe that. Destroyed in 1952 by fire and then rebuilt. Fabulous rally there, finishing with a...
Well played by Alice. You'll see Yingxi looked up there. I think she thinks that Alice's racket may have gone over the net. So
and that's breaking the plane.
Correct. You can't put your racket over the net. That'd be a fault. So looking up with a bit of hope that she was going to get a fault. That's out. Brings up set point for Alice.
Leading 20-17, 3 set points.
Ambitious with the drive serve. Hasn't paid off.
There's a wry smile there.
Worth a go. Needs to concentrate now. Just long. It's good composure by Yingxi. She's down by a few points, but she's keeping it in.
Supporters from Monash finding their voice.
I think we've got a nervous crowd on our hands here.
3 points in a row sees it 20 all. Either player must get ahead by 2 points now.
Yeah, correct. Unless it gets to 29 all, and then it's just the one.
A little wide. Set and match point now for Yingxi.
Serving for the match. Ooh. Great rally. Alice fighting hard to stay in.
You can see from the body language of both players exactly what that took out of them.
This is a brilliant second set.
Well, they're looking for a break. The umpire advising them to keep playing.
Yeah.
I wish we have some match stats here. Surely there's more than 30 or 40 shots.
That last rally, yeah, not too sure how long it would have gone for. Yeah, probably around that 30 or 40 shot mark. It was a
with the umpire asking for continuity of play there. Is that normal, or he's?
It's yeah. Look, it is. It's the umpire's discretion as to when you can take a break. Yeah, it really is up to the umpire. Absolutely. Like I mentioned before, breaking your opponent's rhythm, or in this case, I think just trying to get a breath because they're tired. Well left by Alice.
Wide. Alice Wooner has a chance to serve for this set. As that drifts long.
There it is.
Alice Wu has knotted this tie up at one set apiece. Some eerie silence between points there. I was thinking that for most students, Wilson Hall's a place that would incite trepidation at the best of times, coming here at the end of semester for exams.
This is where I had my exams and graduated.
And you can see that in the baffled look of some of the students wandering around the campus who are now seeing sport being played here for the very first time.
For those of you just joining us, welcome versus Monash Badminton. First ever sporting event in Wilson Hall, normally used for exams, graduations. A few of you probably likely to aspire to be standing on that stage this year and the coming years. If you just join us, the match currently court 1 is the women's first series between Alice and Ying. Alice Relevant and Ying from Monash. On court 2 earlier we had the next second seed Monash defeated Melbourne 2-love, and women's second seed will be starting in that match shortly. Please stay tuned, hang around, grab a sausage from outside, and cheer on the University of Melbourne.
If you've managed to land on this stream by accident, or if you've been looking deliberately, this is the men and women's badminton challenge, part of the Big Blue between the University of Melbourne and Monash University, Australia's two most preeminent learning institutions. Sport being brought to the famed Wilson Hall, which is normally used for examinations. Built in 1882, a magnificent oak panelled building with some incredible artwork both inside and outside. We have 6 badminton matches here tonight. One's already been decided. Monash University winning the second men's singles, 2-0. And we're at the moment watching the women's number 1 singles. It's tied at 1-all. Alice Wu from the University of Melbourne in the navy blue, and Ying Shi representing Monash University in the grey top. Early stages, deciding third set. I'm joined by Andrew Paulette and Nick Yee for some decidedly more expert commentary about the sport of badminton, and in particular this challenge.
It's gone long out the back. Alice just trying to psych herself up a little bit. Looking over to her coach for a bit of support perhaps.
A little
lucky
wide.
leave, just out. It's gone wide. The girls both really going for the lines.
Can't quite see in our picture at the moment, but down the other end of Wilson Hall, one of the 2 courts that were laid today here in this examinations hall, we've got the women warming up for the second women's singles. Erica Cochran from the University of Melbourne and Susan Gove from Monash, just going through their warm-up routines.
Few little errors early on in this third set from both players.
5 points all, deciding third set.
It is again. Neither player been under any real pressure, you know, during the rally. I think just going a little bit too much and making the unforced error. Sorry?
Time and time again, that play is very crucial.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, these girls have such skill around the net. you know, a lot of the rallies really are won or lost on the nets, so both going for it. It appears Alice is really trying to flatten the game out. She's still playing clears, but really going for some punch clears and trying to limit the amount of time that Yingxi has to play her shots. That last one just being a bit too shallow in the court and allowing the smash, but it looks like she's trying to flatten out the game a bit, which seems to be her tactic. And we see that net play again, so crucial to set up the rally.
We welcome you if you're watching on either the Melbourne University Sport or Team Monash Facebook pages or at varsitychallenge.com.au. Wherever you're tuning in, welcome to the broadcast. It's the Big Blue University Challenge between the University of Melbourne and Monash University, the badminton leg of what's a multi-sport competition between these two famous universities. We're broadcasting live from Wilson Hall, normally an examinations venue on the Parkville campus of the University of Melbourne. We're deep into the second of 6 badminton matches here tonight. The women's number 1 singles, Alice Wu from the University of Melbourne, with a narrow 9-6 lead in the third and deciding set against Yingxi from Monash University, looking to tie the challenge up at 1 match apiece.
.10-6, getting very close to that final interval. Bit ambitious, trying to finish the rally off a little bit too early.
I like the fact that Alice, we're starting to see some facial expressions and show of emotion. It seems to have loosened up her game.
Yeah, I think at the start, as I mentioned, you know, you've got to get used to the hall and used to your conditions and used to your opponent. So whilst you're still focused on winning, there's a lot going through your mind. But at this stage, deep in the third set, you know, your focus really is winning, and she's really going for it.
Players switching ends, the first player to 11. Each set decided by the first player to reach 21.
Alice will be happy with this lead, 11-7. Certainly it's anyone's game though, it can really go anywhere from here.
Bit of hamstring stretching going on there from Alice. The referee's given them the 20-second bugle. Both players keen to milk that time interval for all it's worth.
We've seen some pretty stringent umpiring so far. I don't think the umpire will let them get anything more than they're entitled to.
Yeah. And down on the second court, the women's second singles underway now, just in the early stages, first set. We'll have a look in on that once this women's number 1 singles is decided here. We see a point for Yingxi. She trails 11-8.
Brilliant cross-court control from Alice. You can see Yingxi's trying to get her to move and going for the sharp shots, but it's difficult when you try and bring the shuttle down like that from the back of the court. It really opens up the court, and Alice has just got lovely hands pushing it across there. Not too common you see a service error in a ladies singles.
Ying Shi serving. Alice Wu with the attempted drop shot there. Just catching the top of the tape. It's almost a different player, emotionally.
You've got Ying Shi just very clinical, moving the shot around, playing the rallies. I think Alice, oof. Out.
Thinks better of it. It does land out.
Alice, her play really depends to depend on her mood. When she's fighting and raring to go, she's playing great shots, but Ying Shi just clinical.
Ooh. (13-11). Alice Wu, slight lead. Deciding third set, #1 women's singles. Big Blue Challenge, University of Melbourne campus. Incredibly, Wilson Hall. Ooh, a net cord there. Just
Good
tumbles
shot.
over.
Ooh. Good attacking play by Ying Shi, setting it up.
A little sluggish on the movement there. It seems, as you've identified, Andrew, there's swings of mood from Alice Wu.
She's really gulping in the air between points. Clearly fatigued, but every now and then we'll see her give a bit of a shout and gets up and about.
Single point the margin here, 14-13. It's first to 21. 1 set all. A shriek of delight as another point goes on the board. University of Melbourne in the navy blue with the Wing Victory logo across the front. Monash in the grey and almost a teal blue trim.
Good shot by Alice. 16-13. Crucial 2 or 3 points coming up.
Oh. Margin out to 4. Very respectful silence before each point as the players in the second women's singles taking a break down there. Monash up 11-6 in that first set. Susan Go from Monash there ahead of Erica Cochran from the University of Melbourne. Another point, Alice Wu. 18-13, seeking 21 and a win in this #1 women's singles.
Oof. Good retrieval.
Oh,
Brilliant control by Alice. Brilliant.
that really just died over the net, didn't it? Looked like it may not get there. And
Ying Shi really needs to turn it up if she's going to come back here.
a series of match points now.
There it is.
With that, it's decided. A fabulous comeback from Alice Wu.
She was just a different player in the second and third set. Very well fought.
Yeah. Umpire letting us know there. University of Melbourne winning that #1 women's singles, 2-1. Alice Wu over Ying Shi. A match that turned rather significantly during its course. We're now looking at the second of the 2 courts which were laid just today here in Wilson Hall, a hall normally used for examinations. We're certainly appreciative of the help from Yonex in getting those courts laid today.
Absolutely.
Second women's singles, Erica Cochran in the navy blue representing the University of Melbourne. Susan Go with the smash there that's just a little wide representing Monash University. Susan Go ahead 16 points to 9 first set. You'll see the glass doors in the background of court 2. A window out onto the growing gloom around the campus. Still a healthy number of students and staff wandering around. The first time this venue, which is normally used for examinations, has been used for a sporting event.
Nearing the end of the first game down there on court 2. Not over yet though.
Almost looks like a different style of game. Two more, should I say, maybe more athletic players in their movement. I guess the balance between strategy and athleticism.
It's I guess both girls have got a fair bit more height than you saw in the first game here, so typically you play to your strengths, and if you've got plenty of height, then you can focus on your angles and things like that.
It's game point down there for Susan Go. Set point.
Game point.
Game point.
We use the term game.
Game. My tennis background doing me no favours here. So you might explain, Andrew, for anybody who is similarly placed to myself, exactly the scoring and the terminology?
Certainly. So, yeah, best of 3 games to 21. If it gets to 20 all, then it's first by 2 points. In the event that it gets to 29 all, that's, I guess, a sudden death and just the 1 point.
University of Melbourne, Monash University. For those of you who are just joining us, a few matches take place.
And we can see here the men warming up for the doubles. We can expect some amazing action and highlights in the doubles once you put 4 players on a similarly sized court.
Absolutely. I think men's doubles would typically be one of the most popular of the disciplines to watch. You know, it's normally very fast pace, a lot of smashing. Yeah, generally a good example of speed, skill, power. So you'll notice, for those that aren't too familiar with badminton and the rules, in the last game, in the ladies singles, we saw it was the narrow court, so they weren't using what's typically known as the tram tracks on the side. However, in the doubles event, the serve must go in the shorter box, so the tram tracks at the rear of the court. When you serve, it can't go in those rear tram tracks. However, during the rally, the entire court opens up. So you'll see a different style of serving. Typically, these boys will all be serving with a backhand serve, and it's a short one, unless they throw in the occasional flick.
We can see the umpire here. He'd be going through the serving order, or the what?
Yep. So at the start, you'll flip the coin or toss the shuttle, and you've got to let the umpire know firstly which side of the court you want to start on, and then you decide on who will be serving first and who's receiving. And the umpire just gets all that information because it helps with the scorecard and keep track of where everyone needs to be.
And interestingly, in the warm-up, something we don't see in other sports, the players have flipped sides of the net and they're warming up with their doubles partner.
Yeah, yep. That's pretty typical in badminton.
Okay. So that match upcoming in a minute. The women's second singles still underway. It's best of 6 matches here tonight. Locked at 1 match all. University of Melbourne having just taken the number 1 women's singles, with Monash having taken the first match, the second men's singles, earlier on. 4:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time start here. We welcome you whether you're tuning in on one of the Facebook pages, the University of Melbourne Sport, Team Monash, on the website. Live casting here, the Big Blue from Wilson Hall in the Parkville campus in the very heart of Melbourne. University of Melbourne's campus. I'm joined by Andrew Paulette and Nick from from Monash University.
No,
Andrew, no.
I'm from Victoria Police, actually.
Okay.
Just a guest commentator for the day.
And Nicholas Yee, who I know is from the University of Melbourne, the president of the badminton club on campus here.
So in this men's doubles, we've certainly got a very experienced player down this end with Matthew Chow, former Olympian, Commonwealth Games representative. Down the other end, though, Anthony and Eddie Luck.
Both former state players?
Yeah, yep. So they've both been in the circuit for quite some time around Victoria, and certainly play many of the interstate tournaments as well, so all very good players in their right.
Would there be a hierarchy here or an expected winner between these two teams?
Look, it's very difficult to say early on, but certainly going off experience with Matt Chow, I mean, you see it there, he's world class when it comes to his first 3. He's played at a very high level, so it's very difficult for the Melbourne Uni boys to get past that.
That Chow there with the backhand, wearing the lighter blue shorts. Genshi Cho in the darker shorts. They're both in the grey strip, representing Monash University. Down the other end, if you're trying to distinguish between the two Melbourne players, it's Eddie Luck with the brighter green shoes, and his partner Anthony Wong wearing the white shoes. It's the best way I can distinguish them.
Eddie serving now.
Eddie's serving now.
Good return by Chow, straight into those tram tracks.
So you mentioned Matt Chow before, competed in the Commonwealth Games, Australia's #1 ranked doubles player. What makes him so good at this specific part of the sport as opposed to singles?
he has fantastic anticipation and just reads the game so well. In particularly the men's doubles, or I guess the doubles event, there's a real focus on the first 3 shots. It involves just a lot of anticipation and practice at some set plays, and he just does that at a world-class level. On the world stage, he's probably not the most powerful hitter, but he finds a way to hit the ground. I was about to mention his consistency, but he's just served into the net.
And again, for the uninitiated, winning a point on serve means that you would serve again.
Correct.
Losing a point to serve would switch across to your opponent.
Yep. So the only time you'll change sides of where you're starting is if you win a point on serve. Otherwise, you stay put. Little bit relaxed here from Matty Chow. I think his confidence is high. Very clever shot round the back. Good by Eddie, coming forward, changing the direction of the shuttle. It's good to see.
You'll notice in the background the women's second singles. They're halfway through the second game. Monash ahead in that one, 11-9 after taking the first game, 21-13.
Bit of poor judgment there. I think he thought it was going wide, but it was well in. Strong smash by Anthony Wong.
And Andrew, the formations almost one behind the other for the serving team. And
Yep. That's pretty typical where the boys are set up now. Just wide. Yeah, this is
Where you go front and back, the attacking stand.
Yeah, so when you're attacking in the doubles, you'll normally find a front back combination, and when you if you turn into a defensive position, you tend to adopt a side by side thereabouts.
Melbourne's slight lead there as we head to the first break, 11 points to 9. The behind the back shot we saw again there from Matt Chow, is that a standard part of?
Not at all.
He looks like he's having a good time.
He's a bit too relaxed, perhaps. Yeah, I don't know how many of those you would have seen at the Olympics.
As we go back to the women's second singles going on simultaneously, part of the great spectacle here at Wilson Hall tonight is the ability to move from court to court. If you're spectating, if you're around the campus and can hear us broadcasting, please come down. A barbecue out the front, and some wonderful action going on inside a hall that's normally utilised only for examinations.
Wait, smell all the way up here.
Yeah, I can smell the snags.
So we're back with the men's doubles action. Just a point in it. First game.
Ambitious. Anthony just going for the line there. Probably not really necessary. He had a pretty easy put away.
11-all, the shuttle called into question. The tube not forthcoming. We found one now.
Couple of service errors by the boys. Could be the nerves.
wide. Melbourne with the narrow 13-11 lead. That's wide as well.
Good attacking play by these Melbourne boys. They're taking control of the rally pretty early and just channeling the attack. Not so much there. Stringy. Yeah. Palms it off to Athi Saladura to cut the strings. Yeah, he snapped a string on that one.
Such quick hands at the net. Any luck there?
Just a little bit flat on the serve there, straight onto Matt's racket. There it is.
And down on the second court, it looks like that women's second singles is now over. Monash winning that 2-0. 21-15, the second one there. That's Susan Goh representing Monash University, defeating Erica Cochran from the University of Melbourne. 6 matches to be decided. We're halfway through the program. Men's doubles here. The feature action, Wilson Hall, University of Melbourne, whether you're watching on Facebook, Melbourne University Sport, Team Monash, or you found us on the website. Some great action from a very famous venue.
Good smash by Chow. These Monash boys just finding a little bit more aggression and a little bit more control towards the end of this set. Another ambitious shot by Anthony Wong. Didn't quite pay off. That's probably one of those set plays I mentioned before when I spoke about first three. Didn't quite pay off for Matt, but as soon as he served, his racket was in the right spot to put away the return shuttle. Just mistimed it.
And the shorter serve, which may seem a little odd to somebody watching, maybe not used to the sport, it seems like it's offering an easy opportunity for the returner.
Yeah, so because when you're serving, you can't hit it right to the back of the court because the back tram tracks are out. So with the strength that a lot of the men have, if you were to serve high to the back of the court, they can start with a heavy smash. So it's just a tactical thing to try and keep the shuttle as close to the net as possible so you don't give away the attack at the start of the rally.
That's game point here. That one out. And Monash University takes the first game, men's doubles, 21-18. Players take a break, some coaching in the offing. For the first time this evening, I think that there's no action for the reasonably healthy crowd gathered here and wandered in from the cold. University of Melbourne's Parkfield campus. See the scoreboard, the activity going on, some coaching.
Yeah, we've got Kenneth and Uthi coaching the Monash boys, no doubt just telling them to keep it clinical and keep focused.
And we'll see Uthi later on in the number 1 men's singles match against
Ashwant Gopinathan.
Who's be rushing from a class. Quite fitting. He had a compulsory academic commitment this afternoon, and the draw was scheduled so that he would be playing last.
It's
a fantastic thing in some ways that all these players tonight are students of their respective universities.
Just long.
Well done, mate.
Eddie Luck and Anthony Wong serving for the University of Melbourne. Matt Chow and Jen Chi Cho for Monash University. That one's just short. Very early stages, second game. Just a point in it, 2-1.
Oof. Bit of a miss hit there by Eddie to set that up. Patience by Eddie on the attack there. He's typically a bit more of a singles player, and good control from the back of the court.
That one a little long.
He's questioning the line judge, I think.
Well, in fact, it was in. Shuttle's in state of disrepair. All second game. Monash having taken the first game 21-18.
These Monash boys very confident with their abilities. Even when the pressure's on, they're happy to use their hand skills to set up the rally.
Large cross-court smash there.
Melbourne boys just getting a little bit tight here. They need to get themselves into the rallies.
That one finds the net. 7-3. Nothing to panic about yet, but a significant margin.
Good channeled attack by the Melbourne boys. The Monash guys pretty relaxed in their defence, but Melbourne getting it done. Matt Chow again attempting round the back. I think it's only worked once. Yeah, he's a little too relaxed perhaps. Melbourne boys keeping focused. That brings up 7-all.
In the background, the women's doubles will get underway somewhere in the middle of this match. The two courts purpose-built and being laid today inside a hall that's normally used for examinations, right in the middle of the University of Melbourne campus. You're watching the Big Blue Challenge, an annual event, multi-sports between these two preeminent Australian universities, the University of Melbourne and Monash University. The challenge has been split the last 2 years, Melbourne winning narrowly in 2016, Monash taking the combined title last year in 2017 by a single point. The badminton sitting tonight as a standalone event here in the famed Wilson Hall on the campus of the University of Melbourne in Parkville in the centre of the city. It's a building built in 1882.
And here we have it converted to a badminton stadium. Yeah. I guess thank you to Yonex and Michael Farriman for organising the court. It's looking really good.
There were some troubles this morning. The truck that was supposed to deliver the court had some issues, and there was certainly some frantic people trying to arrange alternate travel logistics. Eventually worked out, thankfully.
Ooh.
Certainly an event we'd like to make an annual event.
How long has this challenge been running between the two?
So as constructed now, just the 2 years.
Yep.
Traditionally, the two universities have competed at what was called Australian University Games and is now named Australian University Championships, and they've, by dint of their size and status, have been the two dominant universities at that national competition. They share a relationship through the group of 8 universities as well, the 8 old sandstone universities as they were known in Australia. And they've taken that a step further to have some league play between those 8 universities and an annual Big Blue Challenge incorporated within that, which would involve 8 sports and the two universities competing for a single perpetual trophy.
You are a wealth of information on the topic.
It's a great concept, and I think doing something like they've done here tonight, they bring it to a venue in the middle of the academic heart of the campus is important for sporting events. As all these players are students, current students at their respective universities, trying to balance their sport and studies.
Well finished by Chow. Just standing up and taking it early from the front of the court.
He looks remarkably composed, Matt Chow. Is that just by dint of his experience?
He could be paying the top pair from China and he wouldn't look too dissimilar to how he looks now. He's pretty cool, calm and collected all the time.
And that's wide.
Not to be mistaken for lazy.
No, everybody has their own body language, as we saw in the women's singles, the number 1 singles before. By the end of that match, 2 distinctly different personas from the Monash and Melbourne opponents.
Absolutely, we saw Alice with a real fighting spirit to bring it home. Not to say that her opponent wasn't giving it her all, just the difference in players.
12 all here, second game. Point there for Melbourne, gives them the slimmest of margins.
Good smash by Eddie.
A game they have to win, having lost the first game. It's best of 3 games, up to 21 points.
Brings it back even. Flick serve just going out the back.
Oh.
Rushing the serve a little. Anthony moving forward, taking it early, just finding the free space in the court.
Anything you can see here tactically, Andrew, that the Melbourne duo might be able to do?
They're doing well by breaking it open at the start of the rallies. So certainly with the other two boys and their experience, if they try and I guess go for it too early, they run the risk of the shuttle being cut off and being quite limited. But they're moving the shuttle round. They're keeping the pressure on, and they're getting the attack. So by avoiding giving away the lifts and flattening out the rallies, they're doing quite well.
16 all here. Second game. That one's a little long. Monash take a 17-16 lead.
Good, Anthony. You might even notice in that rally there, Eddie played the first shuttle down quite well, and the shuttle went straight past Anthony's hands. If you look at when Matthew's in the front court, his racket's always up and he's always anticipating the next shot. Just a
costly leave there from Eddie Luck, thinking that one was going long. Waited for the umpire's decision. Double hit there.
And just like that, match point.
A little wide, a strange underhand backhand flip.
Mr. Casual again, just trying to add a touch of class to finish it off.
Well, there's a little ray of hope yet.
These Monash boys can't be too relaxed. Still got the match point, but the Melbourne boys are fighting hard. Oof.
And another. Just like that, they're back. 20 all.
Moments intensity from Matt Chow, and finishes the rally with a good smash down the tram tracks.
Ooh. I think that's just fallen in. Everybody took a breath there.
Good defense. Oh.
He let that go?
I thought it was out.
The umpire affirming.
There you go.
Yeah.
From
amazing Melbourne
2016 up to 23-21 down.
So second game goes to the University of Melbourne. They've tied it up 1 game all after looking down and out.
A very good comeback from Melbourne.
An odd series of points perhaps from Monash from that 16-20.
Yeah.
So we switch across to the women's doubles is underway on what is notionally known as the second court. 2 courts laid here at Wilson Hall tonight for the Big Blue Challenge. Women's doubles in the dark blue serving. It's Jiali Xu and Gailey Chung from the University of Melbourne, taking on Teresa and Joanna Chan representing Monash University. So we switch back to the men's doubles, deciding third game.
Yeah, well read by Matt Shao.
Oh, exquisite drop shot there. Xian Sheng Cho, that.
I'm interested to see if there's a change in the tempo from these Monash boys in this third set.
Certainly some scoreboard pressure now, 5 points to 1. Make that 6.
Melbourne boys need to focus now. Try and regain that attack.
Easily put away. Anthony Wong unable to control that smash.
Yeah, the Melbourne boys not defending quite as well as they were towards the end of that second set. Unlucky, Anthony.
It's happened so quickly. Seems like just an instant ago Melbourne was finding a way to draw back and tie things up. Eddie Luck with it between the legs.
Brings up interval. Yeah, you will find in the men's doubles there can be patches where you get through the points pretty quickly. You know, some good serve and return and heavy smashes can really finish it early. Whereas in the singles, at the higher level, there's a lot more control and a lot more court to move the shuttle around. So they typically have longer lasting rallies.
20-second time warning coming from the umpire there.
Eddie just confirming who's returning the serve.
That lands in.
(13-3). Quite the deficit. Snuck one back. Anthony trying to get creative with his attack. Hasn't quite paid off.
Really a dominant performance from the Monash pair in this third game.
You could certainly bring that back to experience. The boys up the other end are, you know, very experienced players, and sometimes you know how to find a way. Good serving, no errors, taking it early.
It almost looks like a different game to what we saw in the second game.
Yes.
Or the first for that matter, which was tight in itself, 21-18.
When the Melbourne boys sort of play a bit more free and break up the structure, they're doing a lot better. You know, when they're going for the tight return and playing what's typically you know, men's doubles, they're getting shut down. But when they play the lifts and move it cross, they're finding a way.
How does the coaching staff get that message across to them?
Well, when you're down 19-6, it's you could have Rexy Manicky coaching you, and I think you're going to struggle.
And down on court 2, I can see that the Monash women have taken the first set. The first game, I beg your pardon. 21-15 over the University of Melbourne, so Melbourne really in some danger here of losing control of this tie. 6 matches tonight, 6 points available effectively.
I was almost expecting him to go around the back on that one. He's learnt his lesson.
That one finds the net. It's a comfortable third game win, 21 points to 8 to Monash, who take that men's doubles tie here at the Big Blue, 2 games to 1. Jen Shing Cho and Matt Chow a little too strong for Eddie Luck and Anthony Wong. Monash now with 3 matches to University of Melbourne's 1. Melbourne would need to win the women's doubles, which is currently underway on the second court. And the men's number 1 singles still to come later this evening.
The warm-up well and truly underway for the first men's singles. We've got Ashwant Gobinathan representing Melbourne versus Arthi Saladurai representing Monash. These two would have played each other hundreds of times across the years, having come through juniors together, similar age, both training at the same club.
Yeah, Ashwant ranked 10th in Australia now. Is that an accurate representation, the official rankings? Maybe a rankings points situation there. It's certainly on, according to the official information from Badminton Australia.
He's definitely dropped his ranking if he's gone down to 10th.
We know that he narrowly missed out on a single spot for the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah, correct. Anthony Joe from ACT taking that spot.
Yep.
Ashwant, a very strong contender. Yeah, a bit unlucky not to get through, but nevertheless.
He's been pursuing his medical studies.
Absolutely.
Spent some time over in the UK.
He has, doing a research project.
Yep. He's been a wonderful, as well as being a stellar international performer in his sport, is an example of the dual career of sport and academics. He's been not only getting through his medical degree, but been a mentor to a number of student athletes here on campus, been able to explain to them the trials and tribulations and how he's managed his workload in trying to balance his sport and his studies.
He's a pretty good brother-in-law too.
You've got me on the hop there, Andrew. But I'm preaching to the converted, it would seem. Women's doubles, second game underway, a game that Melbourne has to win. Melbourne serving that one into the net. Monash in the grey uniforms. Teresa and Joanna Chan.
You did mention it. What was the score of the first set for that ladies' doubles?
The first was 21-15. Certainly a different tempo, the women's doubles match.
Absolutely.
Seems a little more cat and mouse to the uninitiated eye.
Yeah, you'll find a lot more clears and drops and certainly much longer rallies typically. Yeah,
Melbourne just ahead in that second game, 9 points to 6, which is good to see from a University of Melbourne perspective. They need to find a way to turn that around.
Athi Saladurai recently returning from a trip to Sri Lanka where he was spending quite a bit of time training, so he should hopefully be in good form against a higher ranked Ashwant.
Play underway here, men's number 1 singles. What would have been termed the blue ribbon event. Ashwant Gopinathan in the blue shirt from the University of Melbourne. Athi Saladurai representing Monash University. The fact that these two have played each other so often, there'd be not the normal feeling out process. They would know.
They'd both be very comfortable with what to expect. Ashwant, typically known for his very good hands and very good skill set, and Athi really just chases down the shuttle. He's got just a never say die attitude, and both players are well aware of how the other one typically structures their game, so very familiar with each other.
And there's no little strategic nuances they can incorporate, which are...
I'm sure, look, there certainly would be. You play someone that many times, you learn their strengths and weaknesses, so you'd really try and mould your game to play to your own strength and avoid your opponents.
Exquisite drop shot there from Gobernathan. Saladurai at the back of the court. Gobernathan drop shot again. Saladurai gets there. Gobernathan cross court. Saladurai throws his head back.
He was hoping.
5-2. Early stages, first game. Number 1 men's singles. Monash already with 3 matches in the bag, so to speak. Just the one for Melbourne. Best of 6 here tonight. Wilson Hall, Big Blue Challenge, University of Melbourne. Monash University.
Now I understand that this is a multi-sport event. Obviously we're focused on the badminton here tonight.
It is indeed, yeah. So far this year, this academic year, we've seen Australian rules football, basketball, hockey, soccer, touch football, table tennis and ultimate frisbee. The competition evenly balanced at the moment. The badminton will almost wrap things up. There's still, as is probably the nature of this competition, a couple more mooted sports trying to enter into and become part of the challenge, and it's only in its 3rd year, and it's had a different look every year as it's grown. And I think what both universities would like to have is that this would become a staple part of all the elite sporting clubs on campus, that the hosting responsibilities are flipped each year. So universities, each of the 2 universities would host half of the sports, and they would flip around the 2nd year.
Sure. Now tell me, with respect to today, is the overall winner determined on who wins more games, or does, for example, if
No, it's a single point for each sport and each gender.
Okay.
Yeah. It's remarkable, the first 2 years it's come down to a single point. And that probably accurately reflects what was happening in previous years at Australian University Games, that Melbourne and Monash, partly by dint of their immense enrolments, but also their strong sporting traditions and the fact they both have elite clubs in a number of sports.
Absolutely.
Had been the 2 preeminent performers at that nationally run competition. The only downside of that is that those events are hosted at a central location, quite often the Gold Coast, and it doesn't afford the opportunity for the universities to showcase that sport is a part of the student experience on their own campuses, which we're seeing tonight here. So the narrowest of leads, or almost the narrowest of leads, just a couple of points, 8-6. Ashwan Gobernathan, University of Melbourne, in the blue shirt, finds the smash there.
Very controlled, not going for a great deal of power, but opting to get it close to the line.
Are these 2 the best of friends as well, away from...
Their families are very close. Yeah, they've known each other for ever since Ashwant migrated to Australia, I guess. So yeah, quite a while now. Certainly trained together a few times a week, and they did throughout their junior careers.
Ashwan Gobernathan takes that point and heads to the first break. 11-7 lead. I think in all the time I've known Ashwan, he is the most poker-faced person. We have a series of photographs we were looking at the other day chronicling the last 3 years of university championships and the Big Blue Challenge, in which he features prominently, and I've never seen a smile in a photograph yet. It's almost his trademark.
I believe he takes the Kanye West approach to photos, and he refuses to smile.
It's certainly original. women's doubles. Second game at the moment.
Good control on the backhand.
Monash having taken the first game.
Arthie moving Ash around nicely, getting him into the back corners, forcing the error.
And in the second game down in that women's doubles, it's 9 points to 6. Melbourne ahead of Monash. And that's moved ahead now. It's 20 points to 17 and game point. Back to the men's singles. Back on court, Celaduro serving.
Nicely followed up. Deep smash to the backhand. Followed up,
Down on the second court, the women, the University of...
Not sure who won that one actually. I wasn't watching the final points.
And Melbourne's in fact taken that game. I think we might have had the scores around the wrong way. I might have had the scores around the wrong way in the first game. Melbourne taking that.
So that
2-0.
That puts Melbourne up 2-1 in the overall tie.
No, I think that'd be 3-2 to Monash. I'd just been racing by, and this would be the deciding.
So okay, so this is Ashwant needs to take this to make it 3-all.
Yeah, moving through the ties, it was a 2-1 win to Melbourne in the women's #1 single. Monash taking the men's second singles 2-0. Monash taking the men's doubles 2-1, and the women's second singles 2-0, and the women's doubles going to Melbourne there 2-0. So it's all down to the men's singles here. And in the event of you did ask before, Andrew, in the event of a 3 matches all tight, it then does become a count back to number of games won.
Yep.
So I'll do a quick.
I'll let you do the maths here. Just wide. 14-12 to Ashwant.
So by my calculations, Ashwant would need to win this in consecutive games to tie up the number of games, and then I'm presuming it would go to some sort of count back on points.
A point count back. I think if you were to look at this game on paper, you would back in Ashwant to win it in straight games. That being said, very hard to tell. It's 13-14 now, tight game. Arthie's playing well. But if we were to look at historical performances and rankings, you would have to say that Ashwant edges him out. Clever smash, clever attack.
Just a reminder, if you've tuned in on either the Melbourne University Sport Facebook page or Team Monash Facebook page or on the website, we're streaming live and direct from Wilson Hall on the campus of the University of Melbourne, Parkville campus in the heart of Melbourne. It's the annual Big Blue Challenge between Australia's 2 largest universities, Monash University and the University of Melbourne. A sporting challenge conducted over multiple events. Badminton here tonight for the first time, the first sporting event being held in Wilson Hall, which is normally an examinations hall. An amazing building that's origins date back to 1882. My name's Brendan Parnell, and I'm joined by Andrew Paulette here for some specialist comments. We're down to the last of 6 matches. Melbourne needing to win this match in straight games. Ashwant Gobernathan in the dark blue shirt. Adi Saladurai in the grey representing Monash. Ashwant needing to win in straight games to tie up the tie, if you'll pardon the pun. At 3 matches all and the same number of games.
Now I do wonder whether either Melbourne or Monash have figured out what the desired outcome is in order
Desired outcome
for either team, and whether they would let either of these boys know.
You would think that the officials, should Ashwant take this first game, would be scurrying around looking for their rule books. Oh, bit of a fall there.
Confident leave by Ashwant, letting it float over his head. Arthi just making sure he hasn't left any sweat on the court.
There's not much ability to slide on this court as there would be on a sprung and polished floor.
Correct. The mats are they're very good for giving just enough give under your foot. If you have too much grip, it can lead to ankle and knee injuries. Okay. You need just that little bit of give to let your foot slide on the lunge.
We're certainly appreciative of our friends from Yonex who enabled this event to go ahead tonight with a specially purpose-laid court, or two specially purpose-laid courts.
We've got
takes that first game.
We've got Michael Farriman in the crowd, the Yonex representative.
And he was on hand here, I think, this afternoon. A little late arriving the courts, but they certainly look fabulous.
Ashwant, strong finish towards the end of that first set. Maybe he's done the maths in his head and he knows he needs to win it in straight.
He certainly has an unemotional demeanour. We were talking before in the first women's singles. Not that Adi is any different, but Ashwant's certainly poker-faced. As we're about to get underway, second 20 seconds, the umpire's telling us. Second game about to get underway. Ashwant Gopinathan representing the University of Melbourne to serve.
Just going for the bigger smash there and going wide. I think you'll need to clench onto those. It's good. Great punch clear by Athi into the backhand corner. Early 2-love lead. Brilliant spin net.
Got a bit of sideways action on the shuttle there. It almost stopped floating.
Yeah, so when you can take it early in the net like that, the good players really try and put a lot of spin on the shuttle. It just makes it really difficult to defend. As you try and lift it, if you connect with the cork at the wrong angle, it can easily go out the side or out the back. So, yeah, a good spin net is a trademark of a good player.
As we see a very quick start from Saladurai here. First 5 points, but not that one as it floats wide.
You see his body movements are very fast, and he's trying to take the shuttle early. No doubt the game plan in his mind.
Hope you're enjoying the coverage here from Wilson Hall, the University of Melbourne campus. Our friends at Sportscast providing the technical know-how to have this streaming live and free. Some world-class badminton. Men's singles, number 1 singles, Ashwant Gopinathan, University of Melbourne. who took the first game. Athia Seladurai, representing the University of Monash. Both student athletes.
Just Ashwant for the second time this set going wide on his forehand smash.
The verbal fake.
I don't know how far it got him. Good controlled lift.
Amazing rally here.
Good control by Ashwant.
Seladurai almost down.
I mentioned his fighting spirit.
That's a little wide.
Just wide.
Fantastic rally. Crowd appreciative.
See a bit of a...
You didn't get the rally count there, Andrew, did you?
No. Lost count. A little bit of a grimace from Uffy at the end of that point. I know he's had a niggle. Well, he's had an injury for a little while now. So fingers crossed it's not affecting him too much.
It's a little wide again. 8-2. Significant advantage here early on. Second game.
Ashwant just being a little bit passive while Stuffy's he's going for it a little bit more. He's playing the punch clears and he's moving Ash around. Ash is just staying in the rally.
So the fact they're so familiar with each other, surely there would be recognition of what is happening.
I think, in my humble opinion, Ashwant would know what he needs to do to win this game. It's a matter of him executing it. He needs to be focused on what Arthi's doing, but if he starts executing his own shots, he should be okay. Oof. Clever backhand.
I wonder if at the break here, the coaching staff of Melbourne will identify that this is a game that Ashwant has to find a way to win for the team score.
Unlucky Ashwant there. I think that would have been wide if he had have left it. He went for the fairly straightforward brush. It's gone out the back. We've got Athi giving his...
hamstrings?
Yeah, it could be his hammies or could be his calves. He was having a good stretch and roll prior to the game. Matt with a comforting pat on the back. It'll be interesting to see if Ashwant comes out firing or continues with the passive play. Similarly, Athi, see how that leg goes if he can keep up this intensity.
Adi Seladurai representing Monash University in the foreground. Ashwant Nathan from the University of Melbourne, far end. It's the deciding, sixth and deciding rubber here in the Big Blue Challenge. Badminton here tonight from Wilson Hall on the campus of the University of Melbourne.
Two in a row from Ashwant. He needs to string a few together early on if he wants to take this. Just wide.
Quite get to that, covered a lot of court.
He chased it down well, just didn't quite time it on the backhand.
How those squeaky calves or hamstrings are feeling. Snatched the button a little bit. Wide. Has there come a point that you'd pack it in and start considering the third game, or?
It's a tactic that does hit your mind sometimes, especially if you're fatigued. You think, well, maybe I'll just conserve some energy. That being said, if you need to win it in straight, it's not a viable option.
I wonder if that has been clearly explained. So I guess it's a beautiful part of the strategy of teams play.
Absolutely.
16-9. He's hanging around. Shuttle change.
It's certainly not out of the game, but not in a great position to take it in straight. I think he's playing well. He's covering the court well, and Brendan, it can be difficult with a fresh shuttle sometimes. So
gets through the air more quickly, or?
Absolutely. So as you hit with the shuttle and the feathers start to fray out a bit, it can really slow down. And when you change to the new shuttle, particularly for the lifts, it takes a moment to re-gauge how much force you need to put behind it. Very clever by Uthi. Clever way to stay in the rally and almost turn it around.
Does look like he's ailing a little bit physically. There's a significant lead, 18 points to 10.
Just a little bit exacerbated there, Uthi. Obviously wants to try and get through this second set as quickly as he can. Slowly closing in that gap. Just a matter of is it a bit too late.
Marching back to 6. With that, it's a large sequence of match points coming up for Adi Saladurai.
Just wide.
Ooh.
All over.
Superlative drop shot there in follow up with a smash. Saladurai takes the second game, and what we believe will tip the tie in Monash's favour, regardless of the result of this last game.
Let's hope for your sake that you've made a error in calculation. However, I trust your...
Just working through the early results this evening. In the leading women's singles, we saw a win to Alice Wu of the University of Melbourne, 2-1. The second men's singles was Kenneth Chu of Monash, 2-0. Men's doubles went to a deciding game, but Matt Chow and Zhensheng Chow winning that 2-1. Women's second singles, it was Monash, 2-0, Susan Go there. And in the women's doubles, a win to the University of Melbourne, 2-0, Jiali Shu and Kaylee Chung. Watching the sixth and final rubber play its way out. It's one game apiece. Two world-class players in the world of badminton as well as from their respective universities. Ashwant Gobinathan representing the University of Melbourne. As mentioned before, narrowly missed out in the Commonwealth Games singles position this year.
He did go on to play at the Thomas Cup recently over in Thailand, which is the World
Teams
event. Yeah, so it's broken down into male and female, and he was playing men's singles for Australia in the men's.
And his opponent, Adi Saladurai, is with a similar pedigree in elite badminton.
Certainly played for Victoria a number of times across juniors and seniors.
There's that almost counter oscillation on the drop shot there, where the shuttle oscillates strangely and loses its flight.
Long. Both of these players really have styles that revolve around long rallies and playing with precision. Some men's singles players would typically focus on a big smash, playing that tight spin net, getting the lift, and then trying to finish it with a heavy smash. But these two are a bit more meticulous with the way they play and rely on skill and finding other ways to hit the floor.
So that you're saying they'd normally both be the counter punchers?
Yeah, just typically sort of rallying players that maybe rely on their skill around the net and their cut shots and clever defensive plays, whereas you've also got a different breed of player out there that relies on the big heavy smash to get the job done.
Some shuttle problems there again.
Bit of a miss hit on the slice by Uthi. Every chance it would have.
There's a large collection of
shuttles under the chair.
Did they get recycled? What happens to them?
You use them for training generally. So you collect them and use them for training drills and whatnot.
Does that happen at international events if a shuttle goes flying into the crowd that it doesn't come back? If somebody takes it as a souvenir like the baseball?
Typically, yeah. You don't... I don't know what the exact badminton legislation
full
is.
stretch dive.
Cracking effort by Uthi. And he's kept it in. He's got to be happy with that.
Back to 5-4.
Yeah, 4-5.
Calling for a towel. I thought it was a medical timeout, but no, it's just a towel.
I think with the dive, he's probably left some sweat on the court. Can't have any OH&S issues.
No.
And I believe he just used a Melbourne University towel to mop it up.
And it rubbed it in.
Six 4 to Ashwant now.
6-4 still. Early stages. Last game. Deciding match. Big Blue Challenge. University of Melbourne, Monash University. Hosted tonight by the University of Melbourne at its Parkville campus. Pictures coming to you from Sportscast. Court laid by Yonex. It's been a really interesting evening. A fabulous old building. It's getting this sort of finish it deserves as well, with the men's #1 singles going right down to the wire. Yep.
Trying to mix up the serve. I think I mentioned earlier in the women's singles the variation of serve, just to break your opponent's rhythm, try and force the error, but
you'd imagine they would both know each other's posturing in terms of what's likely to be coming and how.
Yes and no, both quite good at disguising their shots. Ashwant, 2 serves in a row. Yeah, both quite quite reserved players, but also reasonable at masking their shots. So not always easy to anticipate what your opponent's going to do.
Good. Too short on that drop shot. Back to a single point. 8-7. Shuttle needs replacing. There's some more practice shuttles being accumulated. What does a tube of shuttlecocks cost?
It varies a fair bit, anywhere from $26 to $34, depending on where you're purchasing it from. So they're using Aerosina 20s tonight,
which is
I don't know. They probably retail for about $30 a tube. Don't quote me.
Does that indicate a different speed or a different type of shuttle, a different effect?
So that's sort of the quality of the shuttle. I'm sure with your tennis background, the high-end balls just hit completely.
Flight durability.
Yeah. They just hit completely different.
All of a sudden it's back to 8-all. Ooh.
Overruled the line judge. Richard the umpire is happy to overrule there.
He's got the eagle eye. It's a little wide. Tiny buffer.
Yeah, Ashwant would like to go into the final interview with the lead.
And he does. 11 points to 8. Change over, a little bit of coaching, some refreshment. Still both competitors looking very composed.
I've noticed in some of the earlier games they were breathing a little bit heavier, but these two, they look quite comfortable.
See in the foreground there, Matt Chow, #1 ranked doubles player in the country. He helped Monash take care of the men's doubles earlier tonight, giving Adi Seladurai some ideas possibly for what he might do to turn around the small deficit in the second half of the last game.
He's been on his knees a few times this game, going for the dive. That one not paying off.
Reminder, you're watching the Big Blue from the University of Melbourne's campus, Parkville, Melbourne. Monash University in the grey uniforms, Adi Saladurai against Ashwant Gobinathan representing the University of Melbourne. Sports run throughout the year at both campuses. Good leave, umpire confirms. All of a sudden it's 6 points. That's a great point. Change of angles and depth.
Both players really moving each other around the court, using the angles, using variation. Ooh, that looks like Uffy's hurt himself there.
Moving a little gingerly.
Yeah, just a bit of a limp.
Ooh.
Twice in a row he's had the luck of the net.
Well, I'm thinking Achilles or calf, just the movement there.
He's, I believe he's had hamstring issues for the last maybe higher. 2 years. But it's really only between points that it looks like it's affecting him. He's moving well during
the adrenaline that kicks in.
Absolutely.
The shuttle's in.
Oh.
Ashwant with a nod of approval there. Very sporting.
He's had about 3 net cords in the last 5 rallies. Not as much luck there.
Certainly a nice sense of camaraderie in the exchanges between the players. No lack of competitiveness, but a very obvious respect.
Absolutely. Plenty of sportsmanship. There's 2 points in it now. Good anticipation by Athi, but well finished by Ashwant.
The finish line in sight, 17-14. Ashwant Gobinathan leads, deciding third game, number 1 singles for men.
Good attack by Ashwant, just did enough to open up the court, and good smash down the line. Been doing very well with that backhand net up until then. It's unlucky on that one. Well fought, bringing it back to 15-19, deep in the third set.
Very close. Actually, I'm just thinking back through my recollection of the rules, and I think I might have said at the start that I think there's a point awarded for each sport and each gender, which would possibly throw my calculations
It
into a
would.
little.
That would put. Would that put Melbourne girls ahead?
That would mean Melbourne would be winning the women's.
And
Monash.
Well, Monash having already won the men's.
Having won the men's doubles and the second men's singles. If anybody watching who's been banging their heads against the screen thinking, I don't think he's right, you are correct. Series of match points here. Nathan from the back of the court. Smash, return, Celaduro. Lob. Gets to that shorter one. Hoping that goes out. And it does.
And it has. Saved one. A lot of clearing and slicing in these last few points. Just drawing out the rallies. Oof. Uthi with a bit of desperation on that one.
Stretched right back.
18-20. It's not over.
Shot smash cross court, drop shot again. Down the line.
Ooh, Ashwin,
hitch from behind.
Defense. Ah, there it is.
Great way to
final
finish
game.
a fantastic match. Fabulous rally. Hadi Celaduro brandishes his racket to the crowd. The respect between the two opponents obvious there, and there'll be a quick presentation to follow here, but we'd certainly like to thank everybody for watching. It's been a really and fantastic evening. Inaugural hosting of this Big Blue event, the Badminton Challenge between the University of Melbourne and Monash University here in Wilson Hall. A famous old building normally reserved for university examinations here in the middle of the Melbourne University campus at Parkville. We'd certainly like to thank our friends from Sportscast for arranging the stream, our friends from Yonex for getting the court to us and getting it down in time today. And Andrew, thank you very much to you. Really appreciate your comments.
No worries at all, Brendan. Happy to help out.
And we can hear in the background the Tom Lutwich from Melbourne University Sport will make the presentations.
Second is a big thank you to the officials this evening from Badminton Victoria and also from Melbourne University Badminton Club. Thank you and a big round of applause.